Good morning or good afternoon. I would like to remind everyone to please make sure that our cell phones are turned to the off or vibrate position, and also please be advised, our city council meetings are broadcast on Comcast Channel 99, AT&T Uverse, the City of Gadsden YouTube channel, and WMGJ Radio. This meeting of the Gadsden City Council will now come to order. The chair will call on City Clerk Ivan Nelson for the roll call.
Councilwoman Toles.
Here.
Councilman Williams.
Here.
Worthy.
Here.
Back.
Here.
Wilson.
Here.
Cannon.
Here.
And Reed.
Here.
We have a quorum present and our meeting is open for business. I'm going to ask Councilman Williams to lead the invocation. Please stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you for the opportunity to convene today. Lord God, we thank you for all of those in attendance. Father, we thank you for the great responsibility that exists before us all, both as elected officials and as citizens of this great city. Lord God, we ask that you continue to bless us and keep us, Lord God. Bless those, Father, who desire a special blessing this day, Father God. And may we continue to have open hearts and the desire to serve the least of us, Father God, in our day-to-day activities. And through it all, we'll give you the glory, the honor, and the praise. For it's in Jesus' name we ask it all. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the Administrative Committee work session and the council meeting held April the 2nd.
So moved.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to approve minutes.
The chair will entertain a motion to ratify payments of accounts for the week of March 29th through April the 4th.
So moved.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to ratify payment of the accounts.
Proclamation. Unfinished business, we have a resolution ordering abatement of nuisance on property at 526 Plainview Street in District 3. And this resolution was tabled for 30 days on March the 5th. What is the pleasure of the council?
Ask to table it for 30 more days.
Okay.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to table the resolution for an additional 30 days, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to table for 30 days.
This is the time and place as advertised to conduct a public hearing allowing anyone to speak in opposition to or in favor of a resolution or an abatement of nuisance on property located at 448 Keelan Avenue in District 3, State of Alabama, and the redemption rights of Home Opportunity LLC being the last known owners. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor?
Madam President, I'm Brian Harbison with the Building Department. We filed this case in September of 2018. There have been no improvements. There are no permits to improve, and we're asking today for a resolution to abate this nuisance.
What is the pleasure of the council?
Move to abate.
Is there any discussion?
Can I have a second?
Okay.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Our next public hearing is a resolution on an abatement of nuisance on property located at 452 Keelan Alley in District 3, Joseph Butler and Orlando Jennings being the last known owners. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution?
Come on.
If you'll come to the podium here, give your name and address, please.
Hello, my name is Quinticia Jennings. This is me and my brother's property as of December 2018. It was sold at a sale in 2018 to Mr. Joseph Butler. However, we just got the property back. So we're trying to get it together. We do have new windows in the property. One side of they're duplexes. One side of the duplex is fully completed. So we're working on the other side, and there's steps in the front that need to be redone.
Ma'am, what's your timeline for having the work done?
Can you give me 60 days?
We're gonna,
Or you want to start with
I'm
30?
gonna start off asking for 30 days.
Okay.
Because I didn't know this information upstairs when I said we were gonna go on and abate it, but after talking with Mr. Harbison over there and you all just a minute ago, that's what I'm gonna recommend, for 30 more days, and we'll see how you progress, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Is there anyone to speak in favor of this resolution?
Madam President, we filed this case in September of 2018. Any improvements that were being made has stopped. There are no active permits on the property. We're asking today for a resolution to abate the nuisance.
There was a permit on the property.
You're gonna be able to fix that in 30 days.
I don't know, but I'm gonna ask for 30 because it's not fair to that lady to live in the middle of these two houses to keep going, you know. She shouldn't have to keep putting up with that.
I thought you was gonna pass it.
I was not feeling it was new owner.
Is it okay if I say something to them?
Is there any discussion?
I'd like to ask the question of the new owners. You're asking.
Would you come back to the podium, please?
Yeah, that'd be nice. Councilman Worthy's wanting to propose 30 days, and looking at the pictures, and I haven't been to your property, do you have the financial resources, and can you fix the house in 30 days?
Yes, sir, we can.
And the reason why I ask is because there's a citizen that lives between these two houses, and it's just been unfair to that citizen to live in those kind of conditions. Would you be willing to contact either Councilman Worthy or Mr. Harbison like every 7 days to give? What I see up here is that we give 30 days and then nothing happens. And so what I want to do is put some triggers in there for about every 7 days, is that you at least have
Contact.
the courtesy to make a phone call or the duty to make a phone call to Mr. Harbison or to Councilman Worthy, just to say, I can't do it or I can do it. Because if it turns out that you can't do it for some unknown reason, then we need to go ahead and abate that property for the citizen that's having to live there. Does that make any sense?
That makes
Does that sound
sense.
fair?
I agree with that.
Councilman Worthy, does that sound fair?
And yeah, just to reiterate those points, I mean, 30 days means work starts tomorrow. You know, I mean, that's a lot of work to do on that house, and you're gonna have to be able to show some significant progress, I think, 30 days from now to keep us from abating it. So the worst thing I wanna see is you go out there and do some of the work over the next 30 days, but then if the work falls off or it dries up, now you've put what money you had into the thing, and we're gonna tear it down anyway. I just don't want you to put good money over bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a question. When you go to abate or do a nuisance on a home, do you just send out one letter, or you send out letter that whatever you want to see fixed?
I guess that would be.
Brian, you could probably speak to the process.
We actually perform an inspection, and we file an inspection report. We send the original to the owner, last registered with the Etowah County Tax Assessor's Office as the owner. We send them a copy of that. We also send a copy of that to any mortgage holders, anybody that shows up on the title search. So yes, there is a detailed inspection report that is sent to the owner.
And is there a timeline associated when you send that report and say, this, you need to fix this? Do you give them a timeline then?
Right. The letter specifically states it's a 120-day process. And the letter also states you need to get permits to begin doing this work.
Right.
And then there are some other state laws and other city ordinances that are addressed in that letter. But to answer your question, yes, all that's included.
Yeah, Mr. Harbison, while you're there, you know, Councilman Back just suggested kind of the staged process, and that's something you've done a number of times in the past. Can you, just for the sake of the council and the folks that are here, just kind of talk to how that's worked in the past when we've kind of done the monitoring of progress on any repairs?
Are you referring, Councilman Williams, to a case that has been tabled, or?
Yeah.
Okay, so once the process begins here, if the council decides to table that case for 30 days, 60 days, or whatever, then we do monitor that. We are required by law to issue certain permits, to hold off retirement of certain utilities, just to give that individual, based on the action of this body, the opportunity to work on that property. But yes, we monitor closely, and we depend on the owners, as we would in this case, to communicate with us what's going on. So.
Okay.
You said permit. When was the last time you purchased a permit?
Before Mr. Butler bought the property. And I never received letters. This letter is mailed, address is for Mr. Butler.
Okay, so he was the last known. He was the last known. When did you purchase it?
December 2018. We got a deed yesterday.
Mr. Harbison, when did you start this process?
He said September.
So it would not. So you would not have gotten. That would not have been you. So you know.
Right.
That would not have been you. You would not have gotten a letter because you did not own the property at the time the process started.
So do I get the 120 days?
No, we give you.
Let me
no, we're giving you
clarify.
the 30 days.
Okay.
Did you own the property, sell it to Mr. Butler, and then buy it back?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so this is the first time you've owned it.
No, we owned it before, and Mr. Butler bought it for taxes.
And you
And
just
then
paid the
and
taxes.
And then you bought the taxes.
She redeemed it.
Yeah.
So when did he buy it from you?
2018.
Do you remember when?
Probably March, April.
Okay. Well, my point is, she's owned the property and sold it, or it got, the tax lien got bought, and then, so she has been the possessor of this property for an extended period of time. It's not like you just came into possession of it in December, literally. I mean, you had owned it before, right?
Yeah, but I wasn't gonna do no work on it, and it wasn't mine.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, when we were upstairs, my plan was to go ahead on and abate this nuisance, because like Councilman Back said, it's not fair to the homeowner that's living in between two abandoned homes. And for the sake of transparency, those were the properties that I wanted the city to buy, but for whatever reason, you know, the city didn't want to do it. So we're not trying to knock the house down to take the property. I want people to know that up front. The reason why, and Mr. Butler came to me several months ago and asked me to hold off, and I did. But the lady in the, she has, I've been out there several times. All type of rodents are coming out of those houses and going in her house. And it's not fair to her to have to continue to live like that. So we're going to give you, I'm going to ask the council to go along with 30 days because I'm going to look at it as a new owner, even though you all owned the property before. Now, you owned it since December, and you said you've done work on it. So I'm going to take you at your word. I'm going to ask the council to give you 30 days. But if in 30 days, if it's not up to code, we're going to come back and I'm going to ask to abate it because it's just not fair to the homeowner there. Okay?
All right. Thank you. Clerk,
Do we actually have a motion? I didn't have one written down.
Yeah, we need a motion.
Well, I'll make a
Okay,
motion to
yeah.
table for 30 days.
Second.
Okay, clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to table the resolution for 30 days, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to table for 30 days.
Our next public hearing is a resolution on abatement of nuisance on property located at 709 Kyle Street in District 3, Daving Meadows, with possible right of redemption of the estate of Ida Shack, Alonzo Shack, and Brenda Giles, being the last known owners. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution?
Madam President, based on recent permits and improvements, we're going to ask that this case be tabled for 30 days. Thank you.
All right. What is the pleasure of the council?
Ask for a table of 30 days, please.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to table the resolution for 30 days, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to table for 30 days.
Our next public hearing is a resolution on abatement of nuisance on property located at 1501 Harrison Avenue in District 5, State of Alabama, possible rights of redemption of the estate of Roy D. Wood, Glenda Wood, Dabbs, Royce Robert Wood, and Ray Keith Wood being the last known owners. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Anyone like to speak in favor?
Madam President, this nuisance involves multiple structures. We've had numerous cases dating back to June of 2016. There basically have been no improvements to any of this. There was a permit taken out in January of 2017. That was the last permit. We're asking today for a resolution to abate this nuisance. Thank you.
What is the pleasure of the council?
Move to abate.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Our next public hearing is a resolution on abatement of nuisance on property located at 1227 South 10th Street in District 5, Joseph C. Horton and Tiffany Horton being the last known owners. Is there anyone to speak in opposition to this resolution? All right, if you come to the podium and give your name and address, please.
Yes, my name is Mark Akins, and my daughter is the Tiffany Horton that they're showing here. And there's some legal problems as far as with the thing. Whenever we bought the house, and it was supposed to be in our name, but we're from Ocean Springs, Mississippi, and the title company put it in their name. Anyway, and when I've talked to the title company, they recognize that there's been an error in that. But I wanted to try to take and get some time on this because my daughter and her present husband, well, he was present, they're divorced now since this has happened. They separated. She had left the property, and then I didn't know he had left the property, and we didn't know all of this was going on. And then we found out about this, that what was happening here, and we wanted to try to save the house and get it fixed. Because we've been out there, and we called Mr. Harvison to find out some information. We haven't gotten a letter, which as far as what all we need to do. I brought someone with me yesterday, so that she went out and they started cleaning the front yard and everything, and I had to stop them when it started raining because she was running a lawnmower. I did bring pictures. It's not a major thing compared to what it should be. After seeing the house, it made us cry to see something that was so nice to be like it is. I totally agree with the people that had said that it was a problem and needed to be fixed. It needs to be fixed. But I would just like to give us some time. I also have someone that is willing to buy the property. He's from Alabama and Dauphin Island, when I get it cleaned up and everything. So I just wanted time to be able to do that. We're put it back like it was or better condition, and then have it sold, and have it either way he sells it to someone else and turns it, or either we can get it where we can rent the property to someone, but it needs to be made right. And I'd like to be able to do that, but I would just need some time to get, I just got out of the hospital in March from congestive heart failure, and so I wasn't, and I'm not able to physically do much of anything right at the moment. I have to get someone else to do it, and we didn't know about all this. My daughter, when she left, she didn't ever get the letter in the mailbox. It was actually still in the mailbox when we got there yesterday. And so we've got it, but it wasn't the letter, it was the one from April the 1st, which told us that the hearing was going to be on the 10th, which we're here today. I don't know who got the first one because my son-in-law didn't tell me on everything. He said he had gone in and cleaned the house and everything should be fine. It needed a few minor repairs. It's a lot messier than what he indicated it was. And I was looking before I put any more money into it, like bringing a roll-off, roll-on, and put it out there and get rid of all the trash in the house to make sure that, like we was talking about before, didn't want to spend some money on something that it wasn't going to happen. But I would like to make it happen.
You do know that once your house is condemned, the city stops pickup of everything you put out there, so you'll have to move all that stuff yourself.
Okay. Well, that's what I was going to get, one of the roll-off.
Yeah, you can't put that stuff out there for the city to get.
Okay, no, I wasn't aware of that. I appreciate it, but we knew that to do once we saw it, we knew that it was going to take more than just putting it out on the street. Okay, it's going to take one of these big dumpster, I think they call them roll-off, to set like in the driveway and to bring and just haul. Most of the stuff's going to be just taken and dumped into there. Now the yard work, of course, they don't pick up the limbs or anything either. Okay, so
once your house is condemned, we cease pickup.
Okay.
Of everything.
Well, I appreciate that.
So what's your name again? I'm sorry.
It's Mark Akins, A-K-I-N-S.
Okay. Well, Mr. Akins, this is in my district, and I've seen it, and you're right, the property is in a terrible shape, but more importantly, I mean, this has been going on for almost a year now. I mean, the impact that it's having on the other people on that street is dramatic. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at a 20-page plus summary of what the city's been going through on this property. And to be honest with you, it concerns me even more given your current situation, that you do have your own, as you said, health issues that you have to deal with, and the fact that you don't live in the city of Gadsden. You just got to understand how many times we've seen this, and somebody coming in at the last second, a day before, on an issue that's been taking a year. We've been trying to get this resolved, and literally the day before the hearing where we're going to abate the nuisance, somebody shows up and says, well, there's been errors and we plan to fix it. But again, I have some real reservations about your ability to get that house back in the shape to be able to get it back there and maintain it in any reasonable amount of time.
Well, I wasn't aware that it had been a year. The indication that it had been condemned has been since September, which is still a very long period, but I wasn't aware.
Mr. Akins, I don't mean to cut you off, but I'll tell you what, the judge told me when I got my first speeding ticket years ago when I was 16-year-old, and I said, well, I didn't see any sign, and he said, ignorance is not a defense. You saying you didn't have the letter, if you're a property owner and you own this property, it's your responsibility to know what the shape and condition of that property is at all times, be it your daughter or your son-in-law, whoever's maintaining it. Ultimately, that responsibility falls on you to maintain this property. So saying that you didn't get a letter is not an excuse for letting the property get in that shape and let it stay in that shape for well over almost a year now. It's just not, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be difficult with you. I don't think that's a valid excuse. I think if it's your property, you better know what kind of shape your property's in.
Well, and I totally agree, except for when my son-in-law and my daughter was having these problems. I couldn't get anything out of them of even what was going on with them.
Sure.
And I kept asking about the house, but at the time, we didn't know there was anything wrong with the house. Our concentration was on the kids, my grandkids and everything, make sure that they were all okay.
And I understand that.
No idea that this house was like this. It's amazing how bad it was. As far as it's mostly a mess and stuff, but it's just unsightly totally.
Well, in general, I'm empathetic to your situation. I want you to know that. I feel for you and the situation you're in, and I completely understand it. But ultimately, our responsibility of this council is to do what's best for the citizens of Gadsden. And the fact is, this property's been sitting there a long, long time, and unless there was some clear, concrete timeline plan of how this thing's going to get fixed and fixed fast, I'm inclined to move to abate this property, and maybe you can work. Now, just so you know, there is a delay in the time between when we move to abate this property and when anything's actually done to the property. During that time period, you're more than welcome to reach out to Mr. Harbison and continue your efforts to clean it up. And if Mr. Harbison feels like you're making progress on that, then of course he's not going to come in and intervene. But for the purposes of a legal matter and the amount of time it takes us to get a property to this stage in the process, I'm really reluctant not to go. I really think the best course of action is to pass this abatement and allow you to work with Mr. Harbison, knowing that this is hanging over your head.
Okay. There is a issue with the amount of money that I would have. I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to lie to you on what it is.
Right.
But the guy that we're talking about buying it, he has no issue and has the cash to do it.
Sure.
Okay. That's the thing. I was just wanting to get the legal parts of it straightened out. Like,
sure.
Once I got that straightened out, we could make a sale to him, and then he could come up and do all the other stuff. Right at the moment, it was tough for us because of the issues that I've had and everything we've had. Also, well, we won't go into that, but I lost my job a couple of years ago because McDonald's sent their molds over to China. So that hit us kind of hard and everything, and I wasn't even able to come and check on anything at that point up here, and then we got into the sickness thing. But that's what now. And I would understand what you're saying on doing that. It's one of those cases I don't want to put a whole lot of money into it, and then they decide to do away with it, and I'll lose everything that I don't have.
Well, that's my concern. I get your plan, and I understand your plan, but my concern is if there's title issues, that's not something that gets resolved overnight. That takes time, and then you're talking about having to resolve those title issues and then complete a sale of the property to a third party, and then that third party has to take possession of it and schedule repairs. I mean, we're talking about another 6 months to a year, probably realistically, before this thing's...
And it could be possible. I can't, because I can't guarantee it.
Sure.
I mean, at this point, I would be foolish to say it, and I won't say it.
I appreciate your honesty.
I'm not going to lie to you on it. But I have a person that has the means to do it if I can get all of this other resolved. With a quick claim deed, they could take and turn this back over in my name, and then I could take it and sell it to him on a quick claim.
Well, I'm not a mortgage attorney. I don't know how long it'll actually take to do all that.
Well, that's I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's fine. I just ask, again, I don't want you to think that I'm not listening to you, because I am, and I want you to be able to fix the house. But I do think I'm going to recommend to the council that we go ahead and abate this property with the understanding that you'll maintain regular communication with Mr. Harbison. And as long as you're making progress on that legal front and you've got a new owner lined up and that owner's committed to do the work, I'm sure Mr. Harbison will work with you on a timeline.
Would be able to work on something like that? I mean, I'm will.
I'll be glad to talk to you after the meeting.
There you go.
I'm more than willing to do whatever I can do, and like I said, I tried to line up as much as I possibly could coming up, but I just found out last week, and I had to come up with the money to be able to get up here and everything, because we can't stay in the house. We have to get a hotel and a car. It becomes extremely expensive. I was hoping that we could get up, clean the house, stay in the house, get the electricity and everything turned back on so we could do the repairs. But I realized when we saw it, it's going to take more time just to get it cleaned out and everything, where it would be that way. So
yes, sir. Again, Mr. Akins, thank you. I'm empathetic to your situation, and thank you for coming up and speaking.
Thank you.
all right. I appreciate the opportunity to come talk. What y'all trying to do. Thank you very much.
When you ask questions, Councilman Worthy, you're always ahead of the game.
I'm gonna leave
Is
that
there
alone.
anyone who would like to speak in, thank you, sir. Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of the resolution?
Madam President, we filed our case September the 7th of last year. There have been no improvements. There are no permits to improve. We're asking today for a resolution to abate this nuisance.
Can I ask a question, Madam President?
Yes, sir.
After looking at that house from the exterior, and I know it has nothing to do with the interior, but based on the fact that he's got a man with cash money, would it not behoove him, regardless of what you recommend, to seek legal advice on this? Because that house looks like it doesn't need to be torn down to me. Now, what went on there is unbelievable. There it all is. But I would try to save the house. I'd seek legal advice on this one, I would. But I'm with you on what you're gonna do.
Sure.
Of course.
And understand, again, to reiterate Councilman Reed's point, I mean, you do have legal rights, even beyond this abatement process, if you choose to pursue them. But again, I would encourage you to work closely with Mr. Harbison and keep him informed of a very tight timeline if you want to have any chance of saving this. And I think Mr. Harbison may agree that it was eligible for rehabilitation by the city if it gets to that point.
From everything I've seen, it was. That's why I needed to see it.
Yeah.
To make sure what condition it was in, because we had no idea. And physically, just like you say, it looks fine. I mean, that's a mess, don't get me wrong, but it'll clean up.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's some other little repairs to this stuff, yeah. But I'll work with Mr. Holmes.
What is the pleasure of the council?
Move to abate.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Our next public hearing is a resolution on abatement of property located at 3214 Sudi Avenue in District 6, Lisa M. Cantrell and Richard Roosevelt Leith being the last known owners. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Okay, if you come to the podium and give your name and address.
Richard Leith.
Okay.
I've been having problems with people breaking into the house, and I've been working in the house all winter. It got vandalized back in December. The woman did tremendous damage inside. Broke out a few windows that I haven't got replaced yet. And it's just been an ongoing thing. When I came up here this morning, there was 6 people sitting on the porch I've never seen in my life. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And every time I turn around, the phone's ringing. They're sitting on your back porch of your duplex. Well, I don't even know who they are. I go around and run them off. They go in about an hour and they come right back. I can't do nothing about it. You know, I called the police out there Sunday morning. They sat there with a crowbar, breaking in at 12:30 in the morning. They came out there at 2:15, the police did, knocking on the door. 2 hours, they're gone. And so I've just been having a hard time, you know. Every time you get something done, they'll break out a window to go in there. And then they just destroy your house, like 3 rooms of hardwood floors. She poured paint all through every floor, broke out 4 windows, and said somebody locked her in the house and she had to bust out a window to get out. They put her in jail for a felony. But it just took me all winter to get the inside of the house back together where she destroyed it. Now I'm starting on the outside because it's now getting warm enough to. I got a couple broke windows. Other than that, you know, the house ain't that bad of shape. I got to replace a couple of doors where people's kicked them in. I put 4 doors on one side in 6 months. That $220 a door. So, you know. But, you know, if you want to tear it down, if you think it'll solve the drug problem over there, I'll help you tear it down. Johnny knows what kind of problem we got over there. He's our councilman.
Mr. Lee, I sympathize with you, but you've got people all around that house that, some of them your good friends, and, you know that once this house down, they've complained about, stuff going on in there all the time, and I mean, I don't know the answer, to tell you what to do, but, if we abate this nuisance, you've still got time to do something if you get with Mr. Harbison, before they tear it down, but, if it's gonna be an ongoing thing where somebody's tearing it up and, you'd be better off, in my opinion don't count for much, but you'd be better off to let this place go if you're gonna have to keep putting, you said $240 doors in it.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do that every week or two, I mean, you're losing money.
I'm trying to get it where I can sell it. I've got somebody wanting to buy it, but I've got to get it out under condemned to sell it. But like a lady came Saturday wanting to rent it. I wouldn't know way I'd rent nothing over there in Walnut Park. I couldn't even sleep at night if I took somebody's money for them to live in that neighborhood. The whole neighborhood needs to be condemned. There's 25 backpackers, walks my street every day, all day long, nowhere to go. They gonna find an empty house to go into that night to sleep. And if it ain't mine, it's gonna be somebody else's. That's just the way our neighborhood is. And I've been on that same road 58 years. If I wasn't poor, I wouldn't be there. That's all
I
I gotta
agree.
say.
If I wasn't poor, I wouldn't be where I am either.
That's
So
all
me
I
and you
gotta,
both got something in common there.
well, that's all I gotta say about that neighborhood.
It's sad though, put all that money in the house and just keep going in, that's all over town. Keep going in and tearing it up.
Does anyone like to speak in favor of the resolution?
Madam President, I'm going to pass around a list of police calls over the last 5 years on that property, of which at least half of those I've accompanied the police department with. We got involved with this property several years ago at the request of the current owner because of some of the activity. Some properties, because of their history, is just beyond control. And I think we've reached that point. We filed this case in April 2016. There've been no improvements that we can tell. The last permit was taken out August the 8th, 2016. We're asking for a resolution to abate this nuisance. Thank you.
On that work permit, there's a work permit going on in the house right now. I hold 2 work permits on that house personally myself. I've not owned that property since 2016. And the police reports I don't know nothing about because I didn't own the property. But I have a work permit up on the date up on that house right now. It's to walk the house, and so is no trespass sign. But if you'll look, there's been 2 work permits pulled on that house just last year under my name. So that's a correction on that part.
Let me see the
Don't
police
look bad.
report. Mr. Harrison, I know that these are different reports, but does most of these involve drugs? These police?
Most of the calls I was involved in did involve drugs with the occupants and visitors of the occupants.
Okay, because I was, and this may be a legal question, but with this much activity and this amount of drugs, can we expedite the time of just tearing this house down like tomorrow if necessary?
You'd have to pose that question to our attorney. Thank you.
With a lot of drug activity that we know that's going on and they've got record of it, how fast can we tear a drug house down? Attorney Lee Roberts.
That depends.
No, you like that word.
If you pass a resolution today, and then at that point, it goes to Public Works, and they go to the building department, and then goes to Public Works to be put on a schedule to be torn down. Now, how fast that's done is beyond my control. Now, in the meantime, you know, there can be other intervening factors, like if there's a judicial review of our decision, of your decision, then of course that would impose a significant delay.
Can I have a question?
Yeah, I got a question also.
Excuse me, no, ma'am.
The house doesn't look that bad, and the man is trying to work on the house, and every time he works on the house, they go in and vandalize the house. So I don't want to knock the man's house down, and he's doing all he can. He can't help because it's a drug problem. That's a nationwide thing. If we're going to knock houses down for drug problems, we're going to have to knock a lot of them down. But what I would suggest, if it's really, I go along with the council person, because he knows his district better than I do. But if he gave you some time, what I would suggest you do is put a burglar alarm system in that house. Yeah, but you can do whatever, they gonna still get in there, that break a window out. But if you put a burglar alarm in there, that's gonna save you money, because 9 times out of 10, they'll move on to another house. So that would help you. That would be my suggestion. But it's gonna be up to, Councilman Cannon.
No problem. No problem with me.
Well,
But I will say this, you got good ideals, and you don't really understand the neighborhoods, because if you go over there and put this camera and this burglar system and all this stuff in there, probably within 3 days, it's gonna be at the pawn shop. I mean, that's basically what the truth.
Well, and to that point, I think that's a good point based on your comments, you wouldn't move somebody into the neighborhood, you said, so why are we trying to fix it?
Well,
Yeah.
if you want to tear my house down, you might as well tear everybody's house down, if they're gonna move my house to another house. All it is a bunch of homeless people living over there, they're all on drugs. That ain't my problem, that's the neighborhood problem. It ain't just my house, it's their house. And he said about all these drug calls they had, wasn't the owner of that house at that time. I've been working on the house ever since I've got it. I got that money condemned in February of last year. July of last year, they condemned it again because the bulldog went under there and tore the drain loose from my bathtub. That's the only thing. So I didn't try to get it fixed out money condemned, because I didn't want nobody to live in there at the time. If they fixed the neighborhood,
So nobody's
I'll be
living
glad
in
to
the
do
house.
that.
Madam
But I
President,
wouldn't
point
fix it
of
outside
order.
and inside.
Point of order.
All right.
Well, neighborhood.
Okay. What is the pleasure of the council?
On the recommendation of the building department, I move to abate the nuisance.
Second.
Clerk, we've had a lot of discussion already. Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
I'm gonna say no, I'm sorry.
Okay, we have one no. Motion carries to adopt.
How long have I got to get my stuff out of the house?
That would be for Mr. Harbison. Brian, could you answer that question for him?
He can ask them after the council meeting. Ask Mr. Harbison after the council meeting. Our final public hearing is a resolution ordering abatement to the nuisance on property located at 3422 William Avenue in District 7, Donnie W. Wilkes being the last known owner. Is there anyone to speak in opposition to this resolution? Is there anyone to speak in favor?
Madam President, we filed this case in March of 2018. There was a building permit taken out in May. There have been no improvements. We're asking today for a resolution to abate this nuisance. Thank you.
What is the pleasure of the council?
Move to abate. Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries to adopt.
Our next item is a resolution awarding bid number 3399 for Mitchell Community Center re-roofing project. The city engineer has recommended awarding the bid to Construction Specialty Associates, and the amount is $82,050. The chair will entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries to adopt.
Our next resolution is authorizing agreement with Academy Sports and Outdoors. This is for the company to provide a tent, $250 gift card, and coaching package to the City Parks and Recreation Department in exchange for advertising at certain city events. The chair will entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Resolution authorizing lease agreement with Gadsden Mints of Fresno Gourmet Pops. This is for the concession stand building at Nakalula Fall Parks from March 1st, 2019 through February 28, 2020 in the amount of $285 a month, per month. The chair will entertain a motion to accept this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
The next item is a resolution authorizing acceptance of donation from the Gadsden Runners Club. This is for the donation of an American flag valued at $760 to be used by the fire department. The chair will entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Right. New business, is there any new business?
Yes, Madam President, I have one item that I'd like to introduce for consideration today. It's a resolution authorizing the Second Amendment to a ground lease with TWS Gadsden LLC.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today as an item of new business, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Is there any more new business?
Yes, Madam President, I have one requested from the mayor's office. It's a resolution reappointing members of the Gadsden Commercial Development Authority. Ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today under new business, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
Move for adoption, please.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
All right. Is there any
Should have
other?
named them, huh?
Yes, Madam President, I have one. It's requested by the mayor's office. This is a resolution authorizing extension of lease agreement with the Board of Trustees of the University of Alabama. Would ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today under new business, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
Move for adoption, please.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
This is a roll tide between two Auburn fans. Is there any other new business?
Yes, Madam President, War Eagle. This is a resolution that was requested by the IT Department authorizing a license and service agreement with Tyler Technologies for software and maintenance for the Planning and Engineering Department, the Building Department, the Community Development Department, and the Public Works Department. So this will allow those agencies to communicate and store data more effectively, and it'll essentially modernize our record-keeping process. The total budgeted amount for this project is $400,000, and I'd ask for it to be considered today.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today under new business, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Are there any other new business?
Yes, Madam President, I have one resolution reappointing Rebecca Crane to the CED Mental Health Board for a term ending April 1st, 2025. Ask for unanimous consent to consider.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today under new business, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
Yeah, I move to adopt.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
All right. Department reports, committee, boards, not necessary to put him on the spot, but if Mr. Hilton would come and just let us know that he's going to be getting ready for the green.
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Hilton with the Public Works Department. Quick update, we are getting ready to start cutting grass in the city of Gadsden again. Currently, we are transitioning from leaf pickup to grass cutting, as we've talked about many times before. Maybe a couple of new guys might want to know. We typically end up with more than 50% of our total work crew at Public Works. We have about 125 employees, 150 employees, part-time and full-time. And more than 50% of that crew is dedicated to cutting grass on right-of-ways and unfortunately nuisance lots also in the summertime. We're already starting to cut grass. Those lots will begin being cutting again, typically somewhere between 800 and 1,500 nuisance lots. What we have identified are another 2,000 state-owned lots that we're currently working on right now, waiting on the nuisance list to come in. Just to let you know, when grass starts growing, we start cutting. If you guys get calls, make sure those nuisance lots are routed through the building department. They'll do everything they can to make sure we get those cut in a timely manner. Hopefully, the great citizens of Gadsden will cut the lots that need to be cut, and we'll have a lot less to do this year. That's our desire, anyway. Again, we are already cutting. We'll be putting on some more part-time folks, hopefully, to help us with that in the future.
Tell them what the little red star on the lots.
When we found out how many state lots we have, we kind of put a little program together to identify the state lots. A lot of times when we're doing nuisance cutting, we'll encounter a lot that's not on the nuisance list while we're there. It just hadn't made it to that list yet. And the grass will be, 3 or 4 foot tall, and we'll do we cut it, do we not cut it? Legal ramifications, we don't cut it if we're not authorized to be there. Those stars typically mean it's a state-owned lot. And if our crew is in that neighborhood cutting and that star is there, and even though it's not on the list, we're going to go ahead and cut that lot while we're there instead of having to wait for the whole process to go. That kind of frees us up on that. So if you see a little star on a lot across the street from you and you know it's not a state lot, don't panic. We're not going to come over there and do a whole lot. Any lot that's cut when we get to it, we're going to leave it alone. Hopefully, all of them will be cut, but it's been our experience in the past that we'll be cutting more than we're not.
All right. Thank
Would you give us the correct number for the citizens to call for the grass cutting or whatever else?
If you want to call Public Works, if it's something that's already on our list to cut, that number is 256-549-4704. If you're concerned about a lot that you want to get added or you think it needs to be added to the nuisance abatement lot, that's the building department.
I'll share that. I need to share something else with you.
But I don't want to give the wrong number out. Sometimes
right.
that fluctuates between who's
that.
doing it or not. But any concern that you have about grass, you can call us. If it's not something we're currently working on, we'll get you to the right folks.
All right.
Mike, I want you to reassure everybody about the trash pickup at the end of this cycle, that it will be happening. If you
Oh,
just
sure.
announce that.
Trash pickup, not garbage in a can, but trash pickup, debris on the side of the road. We're never not doing that. Monday through Friday, we're constantly working on that. This time of year, spring is our busiest time. Workload increases, number of employees and number of pieces of equipment did not increase. So of course you're going to get behind. It is not uncommon this time of year for us to be 2 or 3 weeks behind. 4 or 5 weeks is outside the norm. Again, that same number, 549-4704, area code 256, you can call. If you call me 10 times today to tell me there's trash on the side of the road, that does not get us there faster. It just lets you call me 10 times. We're going to work that in a route, and we're going to get there as quick as we can. There's one truck typically in each area of town every day. That's the way we found it, the best way to do it, the most efficient way to do it. Calling us doesn't make it go faster, but we will answer those calls and let you know that we'll get there as quick as we can and explain also sometimes what we do and don't pick up.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Brian too.
on the lots that are state lots, what do you think about if we got a picture of them, put the address down, and then start running them on Channel 99? Eric, could we do something like that? For sale.
Now, I will say this year, this will be the first time a new program's come out. We will be taking pictures of all the lots that we cut. There has been some problems in the past where someone said we did and someone said we didn't. Maybe a picture will change your mind. I don't know. We'll try it. We do hope that every lot that we cut this year, it will be photographed. We'll put those into a file up in the cloud somewhere, so if somebody wants to access those, we can have those. I'm sure Eric and those folks will have availability to those. I'm for putting pictures of every tall grass in the entire city out there for folks to know who owns them and why they're not cutting them. I mean, I don't understand that concept. I mean, I pushed a lawnmower around when I was 14 years old. I was cutting everybody's yard, whether it didn't matter. Mom said, go cut them, it don't look good. So that's what we did. I don't understand why it's not like that this late, but it's not. It is what it is. Pictures are great. Pictures don't mean we did or we didn't, but it is what it is. So sure, absolutely. There will definitely be pictures available this year.
Okay.
Yeah. Will there be date and time stamps on them?
My understanding, the way it's set up, when they take the picture, it timestamps, it gives a GIS location. So it says, we were here at this time on this date, and it'll be a before and after picture. So it should show, again, we're not finished cutting. We're bush hogging and knocking down weeds that go from 3 foot tall to 8 inches tall. It's not a finished cut, but it does take time and a lot of resources to get this grass cut like it does. Mr. Harbison. Thank you.
Thank you.
The number you need to call is 256-549-4535. And just to let the general public know and the council as well, we've talked about this in some of our pre-council meetings. Our cost is increasing this year. We stepped on your property last year. It was basically $65 minimum. We step on your property this year, it's $175 minimum. Plus, the rate goes up if our crews are there an hour or more. Most of our lots are less than an hour, but it is a minimum $175. The answer to the mayor's question, there are over 1,000 currently state-owned lots. And as Mike said, they've done a great job in identifying those lots with a star. So if you live next to a star, I would suggest you get on the website, go to the State of Alabama Department of Revenue. You can make an offer on that lot. You don't have to know who owned it prior or right of redemption or anything. You can buy the tax certificate. Now, if there is a right of redemption, there's a possibility of somebody coming in later and taking that property back. But I would say just depend on the star this year. Thank you.
Comments, Mayor?
No, I think that's good. A lot of people, don't pay any attention. They know it's there, but they just don't really think. Well, if I had a lot next to me, I'd want to buy it if it stayed grown up all the time. And they're not very expensive either, because most of them are not very wide.
Yeah, state just wants them back on the road.
That's right.
Yeah.
Councilman Williams?
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. Folks, and again, this is for the general public. We're having these conversations about, for the most part, about nuisance property, about grass, and it's every year. If you ask Mr. Harbison and Mr. Hilton if they can remember a time when we didn't have these conversations about grass and trash, and they're going to tell you no, and both of them have been around, a long time. But please understand, the reason that we're having to talk about these situations in your public meeting is because at some level, individuals have failed to take care of their real property. And so the city's having to get involved in abating a nuisance situation. That's the reality of it. And again, that's not throwing shade or making light of anybody's personal situation. We're very open, and there are paths to getting and helping people get that nuisance abated.
But at the end of the day, it's when individuals have failed to take care of their real property, and that's why we're having these conversations. So I say that to say this: when you're engaging city employees about your issues, please understand they're there to help you. They're not at the root of the problem, nor are they at the cause of your issue. They're there to help you. You wouldn't call City Hall if you didn't need help. And so when they come out there, they're there to help you. They're on your side. Please treat them like that. And please treat them like they're there to help you. You don't handle people rough that are there to help you. And so I want to encourage people to remember that as these city workers are out there coming out there trying to abate that nuisance and address that issue that you have that you've brought to their attention. And I want to thank both of those gentlemen for the update. That's always helpful for us. The school board election, I want to publicly thank the city clerk's office for executing an essentially flawless election process. So Iva, you and your team did an outstanding job, and again, congratulations to all of the candidates who were successful in their bid for Board of Education. I want to personally say congratulations publicly to my brother-in-law, Dr. Nathan Carter. I'm excited for him, and truly looking forward to him being able to serve the community as a board member. I also want to say this, Jason, you'll appreciate this, so will you, Kent. Auburn got robbed.
Yes, we did.
I don't like hot dog basketball officials, I can tell you. And in the last 10 seconds, if nobody gets mugged, you swallow that whistle and let them play. That's what I say.
That's
so
right.
Auburn got robbed. That's all
Eric,
I'm
I
gonna
wish
say
you
about
would have stuck with officiating, and maybe you could have been there on the court and set it straight.
All right, I think that's it, Madam President. Thank you.
Councilman Worthy.
Okay, I have a couple of announcements here. The first one is from the city of Gadsden. They're putting on an Easter egg hunt on Thursday, April the 18th, 2019, from 5:30 p.m. until at the Gadsden softball complex. And it's free. So if you have any questions, you can call the Parks and Rec Department at 256-549-4680. Then secondly, I want to announce that myself and Commissioner Washington from District 5 County Commission will be holding a joint community meeting this coming Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 7:15 p.m. at Carver Community Center. Then I want to announce the Community Job Fair that will be on May the 2nd at the venue from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. And then I've just received this from Ms. Katrina Herring from the Career Center, the preliminary unemployment numbers for February 2019. The United States, 3.8%. The state of Alabama, 3.7%. Etowah County, 4.2%. And the yearly unemployment average is 4.4%. For Gadsden metropolitan area, it's 4.2%. And the average is 4.4%. Okay, unemployed persons in the Gadsden metro area is 1,361. That's down from 1,957 in January. The job openings within a 25-mile radius of Gadsden is 985. As of February, a 50-mile radius is 3,198 jobs. And they've held 19 job fairs so far in the month of March at the Career Center. So it's jobs out there. It may not be the job you want, but take that job, get better educated and better qualified, and take a high-paying job. So that's all we have to do is fill these jobs. Thank you.
All right, Councilman Babb.
I too want to congratulate City Clerk Iva Nelson and her team on an election that ran very smooth, and we appreciate what you guys do. A lot of that's behind the scenes and people don't realize, but I'm beginning to realize more and more as I serve on the council. So thank you all very much. I think it's noted on our website that Marana Park, the children's area, is closed today as of 10 a.m. for repairs. Should be open, I think, on Saturday, just in time for the rain. So bear with us as we repair the children's play area at Marana Park. That's in my district, but obviously it is for the whole city, it's for the whole county. I've never seen this much excitement over something that has been done in Gadsden in quite a long time. It's I see it on social media. I drive by there constantly. There's people and cars there all the time. You can't stir them with a stick. And so my hat's off to the prior city council and the mayor for their vision of redoing Marana Park. It is wildly successful, so thank you all very much. I want to make a quick comment on Mr. Leith and his situation, homelessness. We've been to Los Angeles as a council. We've been to Washington, D.C. Many of us have sat in on classes and seminars and education on homelessness in America. It's a huge problem. Gadsden is not unlike any other city in our country. And so it's something that we're dealing with. There is a homeless coalition. There's also a homeless focus group, and I'm involved with both of those, along with some other of our council members in the city. So we're not just sitting back acting like this isn't our problem, but it's not a real easily fixed problem, okay? Mental health budgets are cut drastically over the last so many years. The largest mental health institution in Etowah County is the sheriff's jail, is our county jail. And there's no funding for this. So when Mr. Lee says there's 6 people on his back porch, he doesn't know who they are, they're probably homeless people. I currently serve as chairman of the Salvation Army Advisory Board here in Etowah County. We have the only men's shelter in 4 counties. Anniston, Calhoun County Salvation Army closed their shelter. When people leave Anniston and they leave a hospital, you have to have an address. The hospitals in Anniston put them in a taxi and send them to the Salvation Army in Gadsden. So we are seeing an increased activity in our homelessness here in Etowah County. And I'm sure the police department could attest to that. And so, number one, pray about that. And number two, pray about how your churches could help address this. This is a public-private solution. The city's not going to be able to solve all this. Mayor Guyton's not going to be able to wave a magic homeless wand and everything just goes away. Neither are the police. So this is, and that's why we're meeting, that we're having these focus groups and we're trying to come up with solutions. There's a hunger issue all over our country. So there's all of these things all boil down kind of to what we get to see here every week. Sometimes we have to make hard decisions that aren't easy to make, but we're trying to do what's best for the community, and sometimes it's a difficult choice. I'll be honest, I've been doing this 5 months, okay, so I don't have a lot of history doing this, but it's not easy sometimes to sit up here and to play King Solomon and to decide what we're going to do. I think we listen to the councilmen, that the situations in their district, and we lean on their knowledge of their neighborhood. And so, and we're not going to get it right every time, okay? There's nobody up here that's omnipotent, meaning that we know everything. So bear with us as we are human beings, and also pray for us. We need all the help we can get, and hopefully we'll have solutions for homelessness coming down the road. Y'all, it's a national problem. Just read about it. And just know that your city leaders and people, other folks, are investing time and effort and revenue in trying to work on that. So I thank you, Madam President, for your time.
All right, Councilman Wilson.
Thank you for all you do, Ms. Iva, and the city clerk's office, your entire staff. They continue to impress me and make my life easier every day. Thank you. Congratulations, Mark Dayton, on your victory in the school board. Look forward to you putting forth the effort that we need to make sure our kids get the best opportunity possible. Look forward to helping you and working with you any way I can in that capacity. And again, just in general, nobody likes to have conversations about abating properties, and it's not an easy decision, as Councilman Back said. These are not easy decisions. There's tough situations, and there's parties being affected on both sides. It's really hard when you make a decision when you're asked to make a decision that you know is going to negatively impact somebody, no matter what you do, and that's tough. So we try to lean on our building department and our inspectors and support them with their recommendations. And so thank you guys for understanding that, and I encourage you all to renew yourselves to, again, this is personal property. It's your personal property, and I encourage you guys to maintain it and keep it up, because if you don't, this council led by President Tolles has made it clear, I think, that we will. So thank y'all.
Councilman Cannon.
Yes, yearly, 99% of the time I follow what Mr. Harbison says, the building inspector. He goes and inspects the buildings. He's got all this stuff, knowledge more than we have. And so that's why I usually follow his recommendation 99% of the time. That's all I got to say.
All right, Councilman Reed.
As to Councilman Devitt Williams, wondering what they used to do with stuff in a long time ago. A few years ago, I grew up in Gainesville, Georgia. We wore it, we ate it, or we burned it. That's what we ought to be doing right now. Do away with all this crap. But it's not that way now. You got to go by all the rules and regulations and what the government says, and you're scared to death to say anything about that. But honest to goodness, that's what we did with it. We buried our tin cans, which was odd because we didn't go to the grocery store that much. We canned it. You know, we threw the hogs in the salt box and went from there. But now we're overcome with Walmart and eBay and Amazon. If you want to see it, I got it up in my house too. But that's part of it. Jen Weathington asked me to make an announcement this weekend. There will be a Black Creek Trail ribbon cutting this Friday at 5 p.m. for Phase 4. That's the skills course. It's located on the campground at Nakalula Park. And Smoke on the Falls is this Saturday, 10 a.m. At the gates, $5 a person. Children under 4 are free. You can take all yours up there.
That's good.
There's 80 teams competing. 30 of them are going to be giving away free samples. Let's see, Gadsden State Show Band will be performing at 10:30, and the wing eating contest at 11:30. 12:30, correction. We'll have a band, and this is a biggie, y'all. I must go way back because there's going to be a band up there named Parrot Head. Y'all be sure and get that one. It's at 1 p.m. The awards at 4 p.m., and this is a rain or shine event.
And this is Smoke on the Falls, right?
Smoke on the Falls, and if the Aikens are going to be here from Ocean Springs, Mississippi, they might want to drop by. Straight up the mountain to Nakalula Park, District 7.
It's no shed, but it's a pretty good barbecue.
It is good. It's free.
Brad and I are good friends.
I did.
What's the name of the barbecue joint at Ocean Springs, Mississippi?
I used to judge it, but that year they quit after that. I ate all their barbecue. It's really good, though. It's a big event here. It's really, really big.
I work within probably half a mile of that, right down on Highway 57.
Yeah.
District 1 will have a district meeting on April the 29th, 6 p.m. at the Antioch Family Life Center. I know we've said a lot about nuisance, we've said a lot about trash, and I'm still going to reiterate the fact that citizens pay for the garbage, but you don't pay for the trash, and I'm talking about the mattresses that are thrown out on the side of the road, the commodes, and all these other things that are thrown on the side of the road. You don't pay for that. That's free of charge on the city, but the city have to pay their employees. So, you know, you need to know that. I still say that if a house is abandoned, nobody lives in it, and there's a lot of activity. I had a constituent to take me in a house, and there was a gas can in there, which meant that that house could burn up. So I say, yes, there's drugs in all 7 districts and probably in a whole lot of houses. But if there's a house that's abandoned and it's a drug activity house, I say tear it down. That's the way I feel about that. No, we're not going to get rid of the drugs, because if we could, we would have done it a long time ago. But I'm just saying, citizens don't want to live. I pass every day going down East Broad, and it's a house that's caving in. And I'm sure it's on our list to be torn down, but it's an eyesore. You don't want to look at it as you pass down East Broad, and you can see it from the street. So when people coming down East Broad and coming into the city, and they look over there, they're saying, well, you know, all of these houses, you got trash everywhere. So I'm suggesting, they say that every time I say this, the trash gets worse. But we need to pick up our trash. We need to clean up around our own houses. And then the city would look a lot better. You know, we can do what we can do. Public Works can do what they can do. One example of one of the Public Works told me that they went to pick up a garbage can where they hadn't paid their garbage fee. And the people blessed him out and then got the can and went inside of the fence and locked the fence where he couldn't get the can. And they weren't paying garbage fees. So I'm saying, we go through a lot. The city goes through a lot. And I'm like Councilman Back, until you come up here and sit in this seat, then you really don't know what goes on. You just go by what the street committee says. And the last thing is, due to the need to certify the results of the election for April the 9th, our next city council meeting will be on Tuesday, April the 16th. It will begin at noon, and the work session will begin at 11. Do I hear anything else?
So moved.